say theatric.
Yeah. Yeah.
To start off, I'll be doing the safety briefing for you guys. Now, since you were here last time, do you remember what the 2 safety rules were?
Always.
Never point the gun in any direction.
Exactly, yeah. One more.
And also, when you're about to fire, you always, depends which left or right position.
Think safety. Do you remember anything about safety? It's a safety-related rule. You remember what it is? Oh, that's all good. All right, that's what we're here for, right?
My bad.
So, no, don't apologize. So the first rule is you want to make sure your gun is always pointed at your own target. So you got that perfectly. Now the second rule I want you to remember is to make sure your finger is away from the trigger until you're ready to shoot. All right? Now I'm going to demonstrate 2 different types of guns. This is based on the guns that you guys chose. So for you picked the Glock chambered in .22 long rifle. So I'll demonstrate that with this one here. Now, someone's going to be with you guys the entire time, so if you have questions, you have concerns, you want to shoot more guns, you want to shoot less guns, whatever it is, just feel free to let us know, okay? We'd love to help. So, we're going to leave the gun like this for you on the bench. Now, are you right-handed?
Yeah.
Okay, you're right-handed as well? Right on, okay. So, leave the gun like this for you on the bench. Now, first thing I do whenever I touch any gun is I always place my finger away from the trigger. There's a good reason why I'm kind of saying it over and over again, and that's because guns are made to be ergonomic. They're made to be comfortable. So you'll find that your finger kind of goes near the trigger even when you're not thinking about it. So the first thing I ever do is I place my finger far away from the trigger. That way it's not going to sneak its way near the trigger without me knowing, right? So that'll be step 1. I'm going to pick up the gun. Next step, you're going to rotate the gun. You're going to take the magazine goes inside and just push it in. So after that, you want to hold the top part of the gun here, hold it all the way back, and just let go.
And,
so now this gun's ready to shoot.
Don't go all the way up because the...
So most guns are kind of designed with this part right here. It's called the beaver tail. So it's designed to kind of make sure that your hand never really goes higher.
Or else.
Right? Yeah, like if you were to grab it like this, it would hurt because when you pull the trigger, this top metal assembly moves back and forth really quickly. But for the most part, you're going to be okay if you just grab it. As a matter of fact, you usually want to grab it nice and high. If you were to have a gap here, you're not going to have nearly as much control over it, right? But you want to close that gap up tight. Obviously, just make sure that you're not like over the beaver tail, right? Over this arch right here. Now, what you're doing now is just clamping down like this, right? Second hand's gonna high-five the gun, just like that. And then you're gonna wrap your fingers around. That leaves both your thumbs on the same side. Now, this is the ideal grip. This is how I shoot as well. What you don't wanna do is this. Now, why this is bad is exactly what you said, right? You put something back here, you pull the trigger, this top metal part moves back and forth really fast. So this is gonna hurt, right? So both thumbs are on the same side. Now how you wanna stand, or how I stand, is I have one foot slightly back, I have my shoulders squared up with my target, and I'm gonna lean into the gun. By you leaning in, it makes it so your whole body is helping absorb the kick, not just your arms. So it makes it much easier to control the gun. Now how you're gonna aim, you got 2 sights on the gun. The rear side is kind of shaped like a U. Front side is a little dot. You're gonna put this dot inside the U, and when everything is sitting perfectly level, that's when you're gonna shoot straight, right? So you're gonna basically superimpose these 2 things onto your target, and then at that point you're good to go. There's a little picture there as well that might illustrate it a little bit easier for you. So, to summarize, I got my grip sorted, I got my stance sorted, I got my sight sorted, so now I am ready to shoot. So for the first time ever, finger moves on to the target, I'm shooting, finger moves on to the trigger, I'm shooting. At some point I try to shoot, I pull the trigger, nothing happens. It's a very good indication that you're out of bullets. So, typically the gun locks back like this by itself when it's all out of bullets, and that's basically just the gun's way of saying, hey, I think we're out. So at this point, what we're gonna do is we're gonna check over the top, check the chamber.
Just quick question, is there like a switch that goes automatically forward?
Yeah, so there is this little bit right here. All it is basically a wedge.
Yeah.
So you could use the same thing like that, right? You're basically pushing down this way. Now I want you to get in the habit of being able to rack it by yourself. The reason for that is because this is only useful if it's from the back position, right? So you kind of need to be able to do this. Now, if I hand you the gun like this, how are you going to be able to rack it? Well, you couldn't use this anymore, right?
Oh.
So you'd have to be able to do this.
Oh, so that's the policy, right?
It's not a policy. It's just
Safety.
not even that. It's good practice to be able to do it. That's all. Yeah. Not a safety issue at all. It's designed for that. So if you do this, that's awesome. I do it myself. Yeah, it's not an issue. So guns like this, locked back. We'll check the top to see if there's a round in the chamber. In this case, there's no round in the chamber. So the next step is to take the magazine out. Now there's always going to be a button on the left-hand side. It's the lowest button on the left-hand side. I'm going to push that, and then the magazine is released. Now you can also just hold it upright, and then when you push it, it falls down. So you could do that as well. So at which point we just leave the gun like this again on the bench.
All right.
Cool. Any questions about this? No, we're okay. All right, moving on to the revolver. Have you shot a revolver before?
Yes.
Okay, right on. So I'll keep it brief. You want to have your hand nice and high.
Yeah.
Same thing as before. Basically, the lower you hold the gun, the more leverage it has on your hand. So if you hold it nice and high, it's gonna feel more like the gun's just pushing back, which is easier, especially with a 44 where it kicks a lot. So now how you load it, you pick it up, finger away from the trigger. You're gonna push the rounds in like this into the cylinder, just like that. And you're gonna close the cylinder and you're gonna try to rotate it. Now the reason why I'm emphasizing that you need to rotate it is because if it's not sitting aligned with the hammer and the firing pin, then it's not gonna shoot. So I'm gonna try to rotate it. You heard that, it locked, now it's good to go. If it's like this where it's right in between, it's just not gonna fire. So we're gonna rotate it. Now it's good to go. Now hand nice and high. This time around, you can have your thumb in the back like this. You could have it like that. What you don't want to do is you don't want to do this. Yeah. And you can actually kind of see where the metal got hot, and that's because out of right here, you get hot gases exiting out of it, right? So you don't want to have your hand anywhere near here, but anywhere here is okay. So at which point, same thing as before. I'm gonna line up my sights. And I am good to go. So finger moves on to the trigger. Now it's a very, very heavy trigger. Bang. Now, this cylinder is going to rotate by itself, and it's going to rotate counterclockwise. So when you are all done, to open the cylinder, you push this that way. So you push it. Now the cylinder is unlocked. I'm going to push the cylinder out. Now you see this little rod right here? Yeah. I'm going to push that, and it's going to eject all the casings out. At which point we're all done, you can set down the gun.
The way how I reload